12 inches or more of water, and that water is eventually going to flow downstream.
People you're screaming are in the river right now. Oh my God. Let's get everybody out.
How many are missing and unaccounted for? We're not sure about that number, but we have a bunch of them that we're trying to get back.
We have reporting from a massive flood that took place in Texas with several missing, 48 dead as well. I think it's 27, 28 missing that I want to jump in and cover to highlight the importance of programs like the NOAA, like FEMA, and others that Trump and Doge have cut because they have real effects and people depend on them. So if you can, leave us a like on this video. It helps us out a ton. It gives us a boost in the algorithm. And let's jump into this, but keeping in mind the families of all the victims and the lost children who must be distraught right now from this absolute tragedy.
We're awaiting an update from officials in South Central Texas where multiple people are dead after historic flooding overnight. You can see some of the images here. This is from Kerr County, northwest of San Antonio. That area has taken the brunt of this storm, and local officials are still trying to figure out exactly how many people have been killed.
But in terms of exactly how many are missing and unaccounted for, we're not sure about that number, but we have a bunch of them that we're trying to get back. Most of them, we don't know who they are. We're having to fingerprint them at the funeral home.
And no, I'm not going to do the MAGA thing in the wake of a tragedy like with the LA wildfires and start blaming the governors and pretending it's all because of the Republicans like they did the Democrats. But I am going to point out how actions have consequences, right? And I do also first want to point out those very same people who did that about LA and Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have now not said anything about Texas state officials or how chaotic they run their state or how it's their fault. Now all of a sudden that it's not the liberal punching bag for MAGA. Empathy is important, but it is devastating, right? Like this should never happen to anyone, but it shows the importance of having infrastructure, investing in infrastructure as climate change is making natural disasters worse. Something that might not be politically sexy, but it saves lives, right? These essentially happened because heavy rains allowed water to flood nearby rivers. Infrastructure is something Democrats regularly deliver on and Republicans ignore. Biden passed billions in his infrastructure bill specifically to address flooding in rural areas, many of which is set to be built by 2030. And Trump could piggyback off of that if he wanted, but of course, rich guy tax cuts come first.
The governor says that the state is rushing all available resources to the area. Take a look at some video we're going to show you actually from a local resident's Ring camera that CNN obtained after a police officer came to her home around 6 this morning, warning her that it was time to get out.
Oh my God! There's people screaming in the river. We're evacuating everybody. Oh my God. Can you knock on your neighbor's door and tell them to get out now? The park's completely over. Oh my God. The people you're screaming are in the river right now. Oh my God. Let's get everybody out.
Where, again, this is absolutely horrific, but what does need to be discussed is how these actions have consequences. It's easy for MAGA to parade around celebrating reckless cuts, many of which they don't even understand solely because it's owning the libs, right? But when you're cutting crucial programs that could help prevent things like this, maybe educate yourself before you look like a pompous ass. Trump and Elon under Doge specifically attacked the NOAA. This is the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. Staffing is down over 17%. I think there's reports of it like 800, 900 people, and rainfall was underestimated by 50%. The budget was cut from Doge as well, and alerts were delayed. Taking money and staff from an agency obviously is going to make it less efficient, but at least the rich are getting richer, guys.
For residents that were finding themselves in that flash flood situation. Now, look, this is still an evolving situation at least, right? We've got rainfall totals, at least accumulation estimates from radar that have totaled over a foot. Here's Kerrville. You can see the San Angelo region just to the north and west, several locations indicating 12 inches or more of water. And that water is eventually going to flow downstream, particularly along the Guadalupe River. This is a river gauge forecast for Spring Branch. This is due north of San Antonio. Look at the flood stage that was at just over 1.5 feet at 10 a.m. local time on Friday. Look at the forecast by tomorrow morning.
Which I do want to say, as it's important to point out, many will be suffering from this for weeks, months, years even, as the effects and trying to, regain what they've lost. It makes it even more disgusting that Donald Trump officially on the 4th signed FEMA cuts on a federal level. The organization that literally aids people going through this with support, food, water, shelter, something that I hope not a single voter forgets coming into these midterms as Trump's priorities: FEMA for natural disaster protection, rich guy tax cuts. But I think it's a pretty simple principle. As our scientific understanding of natural disasters evolves, like we don't think they're like an act of God anymore, and we learn about how climate change makes them worse, we shouldn't be slashing taxes and ignoring infrastructure like many of these red states do and like red presidents do, but instead making sure it is funded to the level to keep all of our cities and towns up to date. Biden started this with the infrastructure bill he passed, and now's the time for Trump to show if he has even an inkling of good in him, of drive or want to help the American people, to follow up with an infrastructure bill of his own and a reversal of the FEMA and NOAA cuts.